tireless Brits standing up for what really matters.
Good evening, this is the latest AI travel news from GBNews.com. Restrictions on the M8 eastbound Kingston Bridge are causing congestion. Expect delays on the M4 westbound between junction 23A Mega and junction 26 Malpas. In Staffordshire, one lane is closed on the M6 southbound entry at junction 12, and in Hertfordshire on the A1M northbound entry slip at junction 3. In Devon, a lane is closed on the A30 westbound. On the trains, Great Western Railway services are reduced between Truro and Falmouth docks, and disruptions affect Island Line between Ryde Pier Head and Shanklin. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
This is your chance to become our biggest cash prize winner to date. £85,000 in totally tax-free cash could be making its way from our bank account to yours. It would be like having over £7,000 per month extra to play with each month for a whole year. That could be you, safe in the knowledge that 2026 is on us. For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates,
5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5.
You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What does she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace
Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome to Lee Anderson's Real World. Tonight on the show, we've got former Labour advisor Stella Santakido. She's going head-to-head with political commentator James Price. We've also got domestic violence survivor Rachel Williams and top boxer, international athlete, super film star Ben Jardine. But first, let's go to the news.
Good evening. Your headlines at 7 o'clock. More photos from the Epstein estate have been released by the Democrats, featuring Bill Gates, Donald Trump and his former advisor Steve Bannon. However, it's being reported a spokesperson for the Republican-led Oversight Committee has criticised Democrats for today's release, accusing them of cherry-picking photos and making targeted redactions to create a false narrative about President Trump. Elsewhere, Sir Keir Starmer has held talks with the Belgian Premier at number 10 on the prospect of using frozen Russian assets to help Ukraine to fund its defence. Britain has said it is ready to move together with the EU to unlock the Russian assets, the vast majority of which are held in Belgium. This has led to Brussels resisting so far, fearing they are most at risk if the plan goes wrong. The Kremlin, meanwhile, has described the proposal as illegal seizure of Russian property and cautioned that there would be retaliation. Meanwhile, the Armed Forces Minister says the UK is rapidly developing plans to prepare for war. Al Khan says the shadow of war is knocking on Europe's door once more. That's the reality. We've got to be better prepared to deter it. In other news now, Reform UK has become Britain's largest party after overtaking Labour. That's according to the Times newspaper. New leaked figures today show the Labour Party has fallen below 250,000 paid-up members, suggesting it has lost 1 every 7 minutes since winning office back in July last year. This means Reform UK, which has 268,631 paid-up members, according to its own live counter, is now the largest party. And Taylor Swift has broken down in tears after meeting families of the Southport attack victims, a new documentary has revealed. The series, filmed while she was on tour, also includes footage of the American pop star reflecting on the stabbings that saw 3 children killed when they attended a dance and yoga workshop themed around her music. Those are the latest GB News headlines. I'll have more for you at the top of the hour.
Tune in to GB News Radio wherever you are. Online, on DAB digital radio, on TuneIn, on Radio Player, on Nation Player and on your smart speaker. Just say, play GB News.
Welcome to Lee Anderson's Real World. I'm the Reform UK Member of Parliament for Ashfield, and tonight on the show we have political commentator James Price. He's joined by, she's back, the fiery one, it's Stella Santakido, former Labour Party advisor, so expect fireworks tonight. But guys, this week in Parliament I was there when the Home Secretary made an announcement on the grooming gang inquiry. But throughout the statement and throughout her speech in the Commons, yet again, there was a failure to mention that these grooming gangs were mainly Muslim men of Pakistani heritage. Why are they scared to tell the truth on this, James?
Well, it's a very sensitive topic. I'll be scared in this conversation as well to make sure I don't trip over myself and get a flurry of complaints in for talking about facts on the ground. As you say, these were groups of people who self-identified in lots of ways, not just as being of Pakistani origin, but they knew each other and they were associated in various networks through their faith. And there are quotes from people saying, we're here to F white girls and F the government, and no less in the same quote. So they were targeting people based on ethnicity. It's a very complicated and unpleasant thing to even have to talk about things in terms of either ethnicities or religions or more broadly culture. And I think ethnicities and religions are a part of culture. Yeah. We're very uncomfortable talking about these things, which is why I can understand why the Labour Home Secretary didn't want to go into detail on it.
Or is it perhaps, Stella, that a lot of these areas, well, most of these areas where these horrible crimes took place were in Labour-controlled areas with Labour MPs and Labour councils and Labour mayors, and they're just scared of upsetting their natural voter?
I have no idea what you're talking about, Lee, because I've been listening to what Shabana Mahmood has been saying, and what I think is actually happening here is that you're very threatened about the fact that this Labour politician happens to be both Muslim and of Pakistani origin and completely unafraid to ruffle some feathers. She said Asian men, which is the phrase...
Asian is an incorrect word. Asia is a big place, Stella.
Asian men is the word that has been used by Louise Casey in her report. And she has made it explicit that ethnicity is going to be something that the inquiry will be taking into consideration. It will be focusing on it. And she also announced this week, Shabana Mahmood, that ethnicity data is going to be gathered on all cases from now on across our police stations, which is something that the Conservative government did not do for the last 14 years, so that we have data to be able to say exactly what is happening.
But James, it is unfair to say these are Asian grooming gangs, surely. Asia's a pretty big place the last time I looked on the world map.
That's right. Your constituents in Ashfield have got to watch out for all those roving bands of Japanese grooming gangs running around. Obviously, it's a nonsense, and it's trying to hide the exact awkward truth that you talk about, that for a long time this country was ethnically and religiously homogenous. That's to say that everybody thought the same and kind of looked the same, and therefore we didn't have to worry about these things. All the academic data actually suggests that if you have more multi-ethnic societies, there is more likelihood that you'll have tension between people. So what you should do, if if you have multi-ethnic societies, as we do in lots of places in Britain now, is do everything you can to downplay those differences. What do we do instead? We say Black Lives Matter, we capitalise the B in black but not in white, we try and highlight all the differences we possibly can, stoke up all these tensions, lock people away in lockdown during COVID, except when they want to go and riot about George Floyd or whatever else it may be, and then it's allowed. And so we've actually stoked all of these problems, and we've also stoked them by not talking about these cultural differences. So if we're not specific, then you tie everybody with the same brush, and
do you think, though, Stella, there is a reluctance to call these men out, you know, their ethnicity and their religion?
No, because I have seen Saban Mahmoud do this over and over again, and I think your problem, Lee, is that it is a Labour minister doing this. And if Labour is dealing with this issue, then Reform has no line of argument with them. They have nothing else to focus on because you are very light on all other policies. And look, I get it, I understand. It is more difficult to talk about other issues which Labour is dealing with because you do not have...
Like what, Stella?
Like the economy, like how you're going to fix the economy.
Give the audience a laugh, come on.
Like how you're going to fix the economy, how exactly you plan on doing all of these unfunded tax cuts that we have been hearing on. It is a lot easier, it is a lot more comfortable territory for Nigel Farage to keep on talking on about immigration and foreign men and whatever else. And the moment the Labour Party has an amazing Home Secretary who is of Pakistani origin herself, who is not afraid to ruffle some feathers and to call out discrimination against anybody,
but
you have nothing to say.
But too afraid, Stella, to say that they are predominantly Pakistani Muslim men.
She has
too
not,
afraid
she has
to say
not,
that. She has never said that.
100% mentioned the word of Pakistani origin many times. The reason she said Asian in her speech is because that is the word that is used in the report. And while it is Pakistani origin that we saw the specific element of the gangs, that doesn't mean...
But Stella says, James, we're talking about foreign men coming over to this country, committing all sorts of horrific crimes. By the way, some of these men were actually born in this country, I believe. But we do have a problem. We do have a problem, James, with men coming into this country and committing awful crimes on young girls and women. We've seen just this week another one, two, actually, Afghani men who raped a 15-year-old girl in a park. I mean... They say they don't understand our culture. Well, I'm sorry.
Also not Pakistani, Afghani, you say.
No, these were Afghani.
But I thought it was the Pakistanis who we were... I thought the problem was we weren't saying Pakistanis.
And let's not forget, James, before Stella comes back in, let's not forget all these Labour MPs voted against an inquiry back in January.
That's right. I think the deputy leader of the Labour Party, when she was asked about this on the BBC, said, oh, there you go, with your racist dog whistle again. That's Lucy Powell, who won resoundingly the deputy leadership contest not that long ago amongst the Labour Party members. They think that this is just some horrible, evil, right-wing thing and that people should just shut up and not worry about it. The bit that I can't understand is this isn't just happening in Britain. It's happening in France. It's happening in Germany as well. And the one thing that our governments have to do across these sorts of countries is just stop third-world immigration coming in, and suddenly huge amounts of crime would go away, our economies would improve, and they'd start getting voted for again. I don't understand why they won't do it.
Sounds pretty radical, Stella, that does, but is he right, James?
If only there was a right-wing government for the last 14 years to make all of these changes. But alas, it was a Labour government who funded and called for the inquiry. It was a Labour government who is implementing this. And you know what? You mentioned the economy there. Believe me, tomorrow you could stop all immigration, have negative immigration, the economy not only would not get better, it would get worse because it needs radical change. The economy...
Let's get the data. I'm very happy to have Israelis and Japanese people and Americans coming in because we know Hong Kong is great. Because, by the way, even if he was a child rapist and a great coder, don't want him either.
And of course, this is the cultural diversity that some politicians talk about all the time, isn't it, Stella? Yet these young men keep coming over the channel and committing these horrific acts on our women and girls.
I am against people coming illegally to this country. I am against the current asylum system that I think is not fair because it means that people who are in genuine need are left uncared for. I do not think that it is workable. I do not think that it benefits anyone. And I think that it is a bad look. It is a bad look for trust for the voters. But what I don't like that is happening is that we are going back to thinking that taking a discriminatory attitude against whole groups of people is something that's acceptable. And I am worried about that because I do believe that we should be able to live in a multiracial society where somebody is not judged better off based on how they look or on which country their parents were from. Is there a difference between
multiracial and multicultural, James?
I think the point is, and most people watching this at home, everybody watching this at home will know, that things have now got so bad that some fairly radical action will be required. We'll have to just stop huge amounts of immigration coming from lots of places straight away, and then we can work out what's going on.
Call it a day there. A little bit calmer today, Stella, but I'm sure you'll be much feistier later on in the show when we do the right versus left. But coming up next, we've got domestic violence survivor Rachel Williams. Do not go away. The government is implementing every recommendation set out by Baroness Casey following her national audit published in June 2025. A report laid bare over a decade of institutional inaction in the face of crimes perpetrated by grooming gangs, crimes that are among the most abhorrent imaginable. We are resolute in ensuring these failures are never repeated. In the heat of a discussion on any questions, I would like to clarify that I regard issues of child exploitation and grooming with the utmost seriousness. I'm sorry if this was unclear. I was challenging the political point scoring around it, not the issue itself.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates,
5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
It's time for Real World, Real People. And I've got Rachel Williams here. And you bought me a Christmas present, Rachel. But I guess it's one of those sort of presents that you didn't really want to bring me in the first place. Tell me about this book.
Yeah, so I brought you a copy of The Devil at Home Found myself in a club that never thought I would be in. So basically I'm a survivor of domestic abuse and violence. Met my perpetrator when I was 21, single mum of my son Josh. And I always say to people, you know, if you got slapped on the first date, you would be a bit of a muppet to go back for a second date. It's a bit more complex than that. They are groomers. They zoom into any vulnerabilities you may have. So I got with him, Darren. Thought he was really nice, charming. He was 6'7". He was a doorman, he was a bodybuilder. He was around 18 stone when I met him, and then by the time I decided to leave, he was 22 stone because he was just constantly in the gym, shooting steroids. Felt quite sorry for him because he was brought up in a violent household himself, and his brother had taken his own life some 4 years prior. So quite a chaotic sort of upbringing, and as an empathic person, I, you know, just sort of thought, oh, you know, I can sort of fix him as you go along. So I got with him, and then within about a year we were living together, and then I was pregnant with my youngest son Jack, and then I started to see what would have been the red flags, but little did I know they were red flags.
What are the red flags?
So basically, I think, you know, if you sort of, because I work in the sector now, so I know what I know, I could have seen then, if I'd have had the education and the warning signs presented to me prior to that, I would have seen them, you know, like I can remember one time I cooked him a meal and he didn't show up, and it's all about power and control. And then I can remember, you know, before long, you know, I stopped wearing skirts because he said, oh, it's a bit slaggy wearing a skirt, you know. I stopped going out with friends because those uptown are only after one thing. So all the warning signs were there, but I didn't know anything.
So this is control and coercion to start off with?
Yeah. So and I always say that coercive and controlling behaviour is the heartbeat of every domestic abusive relationship. And a lot of victims and survivors don't even realise they're being coerced because that becomes your normal relationship. And a lot of professionals don't understand it either.
Of course, but it's very difficult though for some people to get out of a relationship. I've seen them in my job and in previous jobs where I've had women and children come to see me together in the surgery, and they're stuck in this relationship and they are terrified to get out because they've got nowhere to go. The partner's got control of the household, the budget, the income that's coming in, and sometimes even the job.
Yeah, and it's not just that, Lee, it is the consequence when you do go.
Yeah.
Because what happens is, and I say, as I said, you know, if you went on a date and he hit you on the first date, you wouldn't go back for a second. No. So it's a grooming process, and then before long, they'll start putting these terms and conditions into your relationship, and you don't even know they're in place. You only know they're in place is when you breach one of those terms and conditions, and then there's a consequence. And that is not necessarily a slap or anything like that. This could just be something as subtle as that perpetrator not speaking to you for 24 hours.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then you know then that you've breached one of these terms and conditions because of this consequence, but you don't even know they're in place.
Yeah. But then they turn violent.
Yeah, so, you know, there was strangulation over the years, you know, again, gripping me by the throat. Some victims say throttle, choke, but it is non-fatal strangulation, you know, punched in the back of the head. I mean, Dan never physically punched me full force in the face because he would have caved my head in. As I said, he was 6'7" and a bodybuilder. And then as time was going on, I can remember thinking, you know, I was in my late 30s and I was thinking of the future and having to retire with this man. And I was just thinking to myself, I cannot retire with this man. Yeah. And there was an incident when we were on holiday. He ended up punching me in the side of the head. And I said, you know, I'm going to, basically, when I get home, I'm going to leave him. And there was another incident on the beach where he threw sand in my face. So I did. I ended up leaving him. I knew there was going to be a consequence because he always used to say to me, there's only one way out for you, and that is in a wooden box. And I never underestimated that threat. So I did leave him, and in a 6-week period, I had 36 police officers deal with my case. So you can imagine what a shower of that was. You know, things got dropped, they never got passed over. We had a restraining order on him, he breached it the very next day. The police come to my house to turn, and I moved back into my property, the marital home on the 18th of August 2011, I had the local Bobby Van scheme come to the house to give me a panic room. So they actually turned my bedroom into a panic room. So they double skimmed my bedroom door. I had a metal bar that I had to put across there. And this was in case he came to the home. You know, bearing in mind, you're dealing with one man and you're trying to keep a family of 3 safe. It just blows my mind thinking about it, that we cannot protect somebody from one person. And on the 19th of August, I went to work. I wasn't even supposed to be working that day. I was covering a colleague's day off. And I had this knot in my stomach, and it was something I'd never experienced before. And I tried to eat my breakfast and I couldn't. It was like almost, it was getting lodged in my throat. And even though I thought to myself, yeah, I'm going to get my life back, I knew that there was something going to happen. And then it was about 2:20 in the afternoon, and it was a beautiful sunny day. And I can remember just finishing a lady's hair, stood at the reception desk, and all of a sudden something was obscuring the sunlight. So as I looked to see what was blocking the sun out, thinking it was a lorry or something parked outside, as I looked to the front door, filling the frame of the door, because he did fill the frame, he's pushing the shop door open, and as he's walking through, he's got this bag in his hand, and as I looked, I can see him reaching in, and then he's pulling out a sawn-off shotgun. My immediate response was to run towards him. I don't know why. I think I probably subconsciously at some time thought, right, how would I get out of this shop? Because there was nowhere to go, basically. So I literally fought for my life. I mean, I grabbed the gun, and was fighting with him. Then I can remember being hit with the butt of the gun and landing on the floor. The reception desk went over. I mean, this was a busy salon. There was old ladies sat under the dryer having their hair done. It was a Friday afternoon. When I looked to the floor, there was an old lady called Connie on the floor. She was in her 90s. And it did make me laugh when I reflect on it some months later, because Connie was a war baby and she was shouting, "Go on, get out of her, get out of here, go on." And then I can remember picking up the receiver, trying to do 999. And then he literally stood 4 foot away from me, pointed the gun to my chest, but thankfully I'd had the presence of mind to put my knees up under my chin. Next thing then, I felt a huge thud. Looked at my jeans, a massive hole in my jeans, and this liquid pouring from my leg. Could smell the gunpowder. Then I felt a blast to the right of me. It went off again. And then the next thing I can remember looking to the side of me and seeing this gun on the floor, which I managed to grab. And all I can say is I had a supernatural strength that day, because he could not get the gun off me. Then I felt a boot under the chin, stamped all over my head. The next thing then, he was gone.
What happened then?
So then I can remember this guy in the shop saying to me, "Do you know what happened?" And I was like, "Right, I know what happened." You know, I said, "My strange husband tried to kill me," and then I was in and out, like trying to go to sleep. And then I went to the hospital. We had armed guards at the hospital because we didn't know where he was. I knew they would find him dead, because he always said he'd done prison, he didn't like prison, and he wouldn't go back to prison. So they were looking everywhere for him. And then I think it was around maybe 7 o'clock at night, I had a police officer come into the hospital and say, "We found him, you know, he is dead." And I cannot tell you the relief that I felt.
I was just about to ask you that. You felt relieved that he'd gone, felt safe, finally.
I can honestly say I was in the bed. Obviously, you know, my leg was in a pretty bad state, and I've showed you some of the pictures. But I can remember literally doing this, Yahoo! And I said, "The Wicked Witch is dead," and that was my words. And it was a sense of relief I cannot explain.
So you had a son as well, Rachel, called Jack, and obviously this affected him awfully.
Yeah, so Jack was Darren's son. I had my oldest boy, Josh, and it was literally, I was in hospital for nearly 6 weeks recovering, and I came out of hospital on the Friday, and on the Monday, Jack took his life as well. He was 16 years of age.
Jeez, that's terrible. So,
because of one man's actions.
I can't imagine the pain and suffering that you went through. And there are other women out there going through this today, and they struggle to reach out because, like we said before, they're scared. They've probably not got a huge support network out there. What do they do, Rachel?
They've got to reach out and tell somebody what is going on. You know, plans in action to leave, because you know there is life after domestic abuse and violence. It's a tough decision to make, because when you make that decision, you've just got to go full throttle and go for it. But I'm living testament that there is life after abuse.
Yeah, but that's only because he's dead now, isn't he?
That is true. But hopefully, if you've got there is no. I mean, I could sit here all day talking about domestic abuse, the inconsistencies in the system, but if you've got a good police officer that does a great job in gathering all the evidence, and you've got a CPS prosecutor that can see it for what it is, charging, but then we've failed sadly in the courts.
You know what really winds me up? We have probably every couple of weeks in Parliament, we have the Home Office questions, and they'll talk about domestic violence and violence against women and girls, and it's the same questions every time, the same answers, and nothing ever seems to change.
It is a lip service. I've worked in the sector for 10 years, and I can honestly say these last 12 months, I have felt we've stepped backwards 10 years. And that's the crux of it. 1 in 5 people 16 years and over will experience domestic abuse and violence in their life.
Rachel, heartbreaking story, but you needed to tell that story, really, and thank you for coming on. We will get you back on to tell us the rest of the story about the campaigning and the fact you've been making a bit of a nuisance yourself in Parliament and the House of Lords. That's another story for another day. But coming up next, we've got right versus left. If you've been affected by anything you've seen on the show tonight, please call the Samaritans on 116 123 or Refuge on 0808 2000 247.
Good evening. Welcome to your latest GB News weather update, brought to you from the Met Office. This weekend is going to be very wet for some northwestern areas. We do have yellow and amber warnings in force, but it will remain largely dry actually across southern and eastern areas. That's once this weather front clears away to the east through this evening. So after a bit of a cloudy afternoon, skies will clear this evening across the south and east, leaving much of the UK with clear, long-lived dry spells throughout tonight. It won't be entirely dry. Far northwest of Scotland, we'll see some showers across the north and west. Some of these could be heavy. And with clear skies across the UK, temperatures will fall away a little bit lower than they have done lately, so a slightly chillier night to come. A touch of frost to start the day across many southern areas, rurally in particular, but it will be a fairly bright start. Plenty of sunshine first thing on Saturday. However, there will be a few showers across the far northwest of Scotland. Elsewhere, though, plenty of sunshine. A bit of mist and fog around at first. That should clear quite quickly, however. And plenty of sunshine for Northern Ireland, Wales, as well as England. But you can see that mist and fog around. There will be a few pockets first thing. And I think the best of the more widespread sunshine will be Saturday morning, as we head towards Saturday lunchtime and into Sunday, this rain will spread in from the north and west, and it's going to linger through much of the weekend across northwestern areas. So we do have some quite long-lived warnings in force for parts of western Scotland, Northern Ireland, North Wales later on in the weekend, as well as northwestern England, Cumbria in particular. Further south and east, though, it's going to be actually a pretty dry weekend, and there'll be plenty of sunshine on Saturday. But there is an amber warning in force for the likes of Cumbria for Sunday and into Monday. We could see in excess of 200 millimetres build up through the course of 48 hours or so. So with warnings in force, we are expecting disruption. Flooding is likely as well in some areas. So please stay tuned to the forecast. It does stay unsettled into next week as well. Bye-bye.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
It's time for right versus left. I've got Stella back here with James. I've got my teaser ready under the desk in case these pair kick off today. Guys, Donald Trump, the leader of the free world. Rude, that was Stella, but anyway, he's the leader of the free world. He's made some comments, well, he's made a lot of comments, about European leaders being weak and spineless. He's made a few comments about our wonderful mayor in London, Mayor Khan. He's not here to defend himself, by the way, but I will defend him to the hilt. Is he right to poke his nose into our business, James?
Yeah, well, so this comes from the National Security Strategy that the administration put out, a sort of 33-page document that just lays out America's priorities. And it does this for every region of the world. Does it in South America, does it in Africa, does it in Europe, and everywhere else too. And in it, it makes a set of criticisms about Europe, all of which I think I would make myself. It criticises the over-regulation of business that's killing growth. Well, I think that's true. It's criticising mad free speech rules, which I think is also true. You've got an MP in Finland who is being tried for quoting the Bible, for example, and all kinds of other crimes. In Germany, if you say something mean, you call a politician overweight, suddenly that's a crime. And they criticise... no, we don't have any overweight politicians in Britain, don't worry. And then, or commentators. And then they also criticise the mad level of third world immigration into Europe. I think all of those things are true. I think the 17.4 million people who voted for Brexit agree with those criticisms of the EU as well. And it is the EU, not Europe, that gets the bulk of the criticism from this document.
So, Stella, are you a Trump supporter?
No, I do not support an authoritarian, populist demagogue, no. I think that document was absolutely ridiculous and actually quite dangerous. The biggest threat to Western civilization is in the White House. It is Donald Trump. The reason why he has such a big problem with the EU and with Europe more generally is because he basically wants us to bow down to his own corporate interests, the corporate interests of his tech buddies. I'm really sad for all the people, for all of the working class people who put their trust in this man and they're being betrayed. Because what he wants to do is he wants to pretend that the important issues are the cultural issues. We need to be focusing on racial and cultural issues. That's where he's comfortable, just like Reform and Nigel Farage. When in fact the real problem is that what he is doing is he's signing a carte blanche to the tech oligarchs and plutocrats in the Silicon Valley who are immiserating the American people. They are driving up their energy prices. They are making sure that there will never be proper reindustrialization, and he wants to do the same thing in Europe. He wants Europe to be impoverished, to accept any and all, to make all concessions possible to the tech plutocrats in Silicon Valley, and he has no intention to protect us from the actual problem, the actual threat, which is Putin in Russia. And is it any wonder that Vladimir Putin said that he actually likes his security strategy?
So I think Stella's sat on the fence a little bit there. She's not quite made her feelings known to the GB audience out there, but I think, so come on, Stella, surely you don't believe all that. James, does she believe all that?
I think it would be hard to believe all of that for someone as smart as Stella. The tech plutocrats who got mentioned have actually contributed more to the European Union economy than all of the European big tech companies put together, because the European Union have fined those companies, and the European Union has made more money from fining the Apples and Facebooks of the world than their own actual tech companies have done.
They wouldn't have to fine them.
So well, no, that isn't true either at all. But the crux of the matter here is that Europe is being seen as less of a reliable partner than it should be, given its wealth and all the rest of it. Why should working class voters like my parents-in-law in Indiana, or those in Ohio, and all those who voted for Trump, why should they be taxed for that huge military that America spends all of its money on to go and defend a wealthy, lazy continent where rich German taxpayers won't even pay their own NATO fair share? That is a perfectly legitimate question, and if Russia tried to invade when Germany and France and Britain and Spain and Italy and all the rest had decent militaries, it would never have got anywhere. It was the fact of European weakness that allowed Russia to get involved in Georgia, to get involved in Crimea 10, 11 years ago, and in the full-scale invasion of Ukraine as well. Why should it be that America has to foot the bill for that?
European weakness.
There's definitely European weakness, and it's not just on how we have dealt with Russia, but also with how we have dealt with the US and how we are dealing with Donald Trump right now.
Trump is right.
No, he's not right, because Trump wouldn't say that Europe is weak. If we were doing everything he wanted, if we were just bowing down to him and we would be completely weak and submissive, he would say, yes, amazing solution, well done, Europe, finally you have found your voice.
Whereas, he sort of has done that, because the leader of NATO, Mark Rutte, the former Dutch PM, called Trump daddy. So in a way, some of these organisations are supplicating to him. And he said in an interview with Politico, and Politico named him as the most consequential politician for Europe, which is what spurred a lot of this on. He said, I want Europe to be strong. I don't want America to have to deal with this. America is obviously going to have to turn and deal with the genuine civilizational threat, which is the Communist Party in China. And why can we not deal with Russia, which has an economy, by the way, the size of Spain? Why can we not deal with it?
It was only last week that Donald Trump was actually awarded the FIFA Peace Prize trophy medal. I mean, not many people get that award, Stella, do they? I'm just laughing.
What other fake awards are we going to invent to appease this massive orange baby? I want to know. It is honestly really, really scary times.
An orange baby?
Orange baby, absolutely. And I really hope that as many people as possible from his administration end up going in jail after he's no longer president.
No, they tried that already when he won the election. They tried that when they tried to jail Trump.
The corruption, literally, all his government is doing, the only purpose of Donald Trump is to enrich himself and his cronies and his children and anybody else.
He is, of course, the only president who left the White House at the end of his first term poorer than when he went in, compared to Barack Obama, who is now worth a huge amount of money that he never was before.
I'll take it you're not a big fan then, Stella, but we're going to move on to the yes or no quiz right now. Have you done this before, Stella?
Yes.
Yes or no quiz. OK, I've got the questions here. Let's have a look. Simple rules. You can only answer yes or no. Any verbal tics, stuttering, strange noises, and it's a mark against you. So we'll go with you first, Stella. Is Donald Trump right to criticise European leaders?
No.
Yes.
OK. James, is the Home Secretary correct to use the term Asian when referring to grooming gangs?
No.
Yes.
Straight face again, Stella. Should the House of Lords, Stella, be scrapped?
No.
No.
And James, should Reform UK be allowed peers in the House of Lords?
Yes.
Stella? Tick, 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 tick.
Yes.
Ooh. Honest answer. And final question, Stella, should puberty blockers trials on children be banned?
Yes.
Slight tick there. We'll forgive you because it's been a long time since you've been on the show. So that's me being kind, Stella.
Yes. It's evil.
I
lost it for that.
You've let the left in the corner win, James. You had one job.
I'll take a moral victory.
Stella, unfortunately, you are our winner this week in the yes or no quiz. Do you want to come back on one?
Good game.
Is any of the questions you want to come back on, James?
I think that puberty blockers one is really important. You know, you might have been forgiven in the past for not realising, because some people lied and said all this stuff was totally reversible. It's not reversible. It's effectively castrating children, and it's evil. And now we know it shouldn't be allowed.
Stella, puberty blockers banned.
You said clinical trials of puberty blockers
on children.
On children, yes, we shouldn't have them on children. We shouldn't have clinical trials of puberty blockers on children.
And another question that you both agreed on was, should Reform UK be allowed to have peers in the House of Lords? Both agreed on that one.
Yeah, absolutely right. I think Nigel Farage has said recently that he's reading Mr Balfour's Poodle, all about the struggles at the start of the 20th century between the Lords and the Commons. So he's aware of the potential problems. Labour have put in, 25 new peers for themselves this week alone. If Reform do win the next election, they're going to need to have representation in the Lords. They should start now.
I could sort of see Stella as a baroness in the House of...
A Reform baroness?
A snarl there.
I mean, listen, I always thought that I would never reject any kind of honours like that, because I find it too... I don't like the whole show of rejecting something like this, and I am very much pro the UK having its own symbols, but my goodness.
But you can understand the level of frustration with the British public, Stella. It just stinks of cronyism, don't it? Nepotism, the House of Lords. I always say, and I hope nobody's watching this bit, but it is the most expensive care home in Europe.
Yeah, there are loads of problems, don't get me wrong, loads of problems with the House of Lords, but I do think that there is a value to having a second chamber. What I would like to see from the House of Lords is that it is based a lot more on expertise expertise, that we see a lot more expertise, and we think about the kind of expertise that we need, because really some of the peers, the kind of job work that they do is really important, but in its current state, obviously it is dysfunctional and unfair. And
I'm not sure that's right. I worked in the House of Lords for a couple of years, and it's both of these things. It is the world's most expensive care home, because there are people there who, frankly, are suffering from things like dementia and not being dealt with because there's no constitutional mechanism to get rid of them. And it has some of the smartest and greatest experts in the world. We should have more of the latter and less of the former.
Yeah, I think it needs reforming. I do see some gentlemen of a certain age on their Zimmers and sticks, and you think, well, you know, you're going to the wrong place here, you should probably be going to the hospital.
But some of the young ones have got rubbish ideas as well.
But there are some good people in there as well, some really good. And, you know, let's be fair to some of the hereditary peers in the House of Lords. They're some of the hardest working ones, because that's been passed on, and they've got like a legacy. They have something to continue in the family blood, if you like. So don't pick on them too much. But then there's others that's been awarded their peerages that never turn up, Stella. We should boot them out, shouldn't we?
Yeah, I do find that to be a bit unacceptable. But I also find it unacceptable when peers just use the House of Lords to expand their consulting businesses, and just as a way to, you know, just something to put on their CV to make massive companies hire them as advisors.
There are some who used to turn up and tell the taxi driver to leave the meter running while they ran in, signed off for their day's pay, and ran back out again.
Quid,
get them out.
Go away. Guys, great quiz, Stella, well done. Great Christmas present there. James, awful, dreadful. Verbal tick at the end, disgraceful. And just on the House of Lords there, many of the peers in the House of Lords would push back a little bit on what's been said tonight, but they're not here to defend themselves. But coming up next, we've got TV personality Ben Jardine on Last Orders.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
After some recent downpours, the eastern Mediterranean is turning a lot drier and brighter through the weekend. Meanwhile, off the west coast of Africa, some rain will be drifting southwards, so it could be quite showery in the Canaries on Saturday. Some showers also likely over the Balearics, particularly for Ibiza. Largely fine for Italy, and some sunshine returning to Greece, although with the breeze coming down from the north, it'll stay fairly cool here. We should see the sunny skies returning to Tenerife through Sunday and Monday.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock, only on GB News.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience, because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless, and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays, here only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
That sounds like last orders at the bar. Got Ben Jardine back on the show for the second time.
Hello, sir.
He's looking very happy with himself. And now you was on Married at First Sight, weren't you?
I was, yes, sir.
Celebrity Big Brother?
Celebrity Big Brother as well.
Big Brother as well.
The word as well. It was Danny Zuko.
But
go on.
Last time you was telling you've been in some films as well, haven't you? And
yeah.
I know all this stuff. I Google you. And you've just done another film this year, which is due for release in January, I think, or February next year.
Yeah,
Tell me about this film, mate, because it sounds excellent.
Well, basically, it's a gangster flick. So I'm a gangster in a gangster film. That's ticking a box.
Ticking a box,
But guess what? I'm an MP.
What, military policeman? Or a member of Parliament?
Well, member of Parliament,
Member
sir.
of Parliament.
Yes, I'm a member of Parliament.
Yeah.
And, I don't want to chuck it all away, but some pussycat dolls trying to get,
Get a piece of you?
Well, she's trying to get all the information out of me.
Yeah.
I didn't give it away.
Is it like a honey trap?
I felt it was a little bit.
What's it like being an MP on screen?
It was brilliant until they tried to hurt me.
Yeah. Was you a crooked MP?
I don't like saying. I don't want to ruin the film.
Oh, OK, so...
Do I look like a crooked MP?
You look a bit dodgy, mate. You look a bit dodgy. But you're still keeping fit, obviously.
Oh, thank you.
You're still doing a bit of... is it cage fighting you do? Is it...
I do Thai boxing, but now I've gone to professional boxing.
Professional boxing?
A licensed fighter, yes.
And when's your next fight?
So we've been speaking with, I don't want to drop names, with Mr. Calais of Wasserman Boxing. I've got my boxing trainer with me today.
Yeah.
Because we're going to do about 15 rounds after this.
Yeah.
But there's looking for a fight.
Well, if it weren't for my back and my dodgy foot, I'd get in the ring with you tomorrow, mate, because I reckon I could do a bit of damage.
Well, we could do anything, you know what I mean?
When my injuries have cleared up, I'll be... joking, by the way. Joking, by the way.
I don't know, is he? I don't know.
I mean, how long does it take you to train for a fight?
I need to get down to about 75 kilos for my fight.
Really?
So, obviously, it's about a 10-week camp, obviously, and, you know, none of this.
No beer?
No, all clean and mean.
Yeah.
Eat white, feel light.
But we've seen a lot of these YouTubers now, aren't we, at boxing? We've also... This Jake Paul's fight, that's been cancelled or postponed, hasn't it?
Well, no, it's been cancelled, postponed. Now he's changed his opponent. But again, we're talking about the guy now, aren't we? He's doing something right, isn't he?
He's making money, isn't he?
Yeah, we need to be talking about when I'm going to a real fighter against these guys. And at the end of the day, a lot of people have been calling me out.
Well, it's entertainment. If you make a few quid and nobody gets seriously hurt, and it's OK, surely.
It's a gentleman's sport, and at the end of the day, we'll all have a beer after it at the end of the day as well. But, like, you've got these people like, I don't want to mention names, but there's a good person, I'm probably in his manor right now. I think that'd be a good fight.
Adam Brooks?
You said it. I'm here now today.
I'm in his pub, so I know my money's on. But Conor McGregor, he's a controversial figure, isn't he? And I've seen him in this film, that Roadhouse film. I thought he was pretty good.
I thought he looked tremendous. Do you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, he was working with an amazing actor in Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
But Conor McGregor, he's doing all his own promotions now.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'd fight on that as well.
Would you fight on that?
Well, I think that Fincham and Chalmers fought on it as well, and they're meant to be these YouTubers.
Roadhouse, good film.
Yeah, Patrick Swayze.
But not as good as the original.
Patrick Swayze. Legend.
He was the best.
He was.
Him and Wade Garrett together.
Mate, you can't... And why would you do that? But I said that about Top Gun. Why would you try and do another Top Gun? But I think Maverick was better.
Yeah, maybe. How many films have you been in so far, Ben?
Mine, on my Spotlight, I've done about 5 films.
And about...
And a panto.
I tell you what, I want to ask you a question now, which I always ask my guests on here. When you was at school, many years ago, was you a nerd or a nuisance?
Yeah, you answer that. What do you think?
I think you're probably a nuisance.
Yeah.
And can you tell me more about that behaviour, just so other young people watching this right now don't get onto that slippery slope?
All I'm saying is, Like what I've learned in life, and and this is why I love boxing, this is why I love training, is you've got to have structure. That's what schooling taught me, structure and discipline.
Yeah.
And sometimes if you've got that in your life, yeah, if you've got a plan, you become Batman, don't you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you've not got a plan, you don't know where you're going. So structure and discipline is everything. But school, yeah, I always had an answer, didn't I?
Well, let's see if you've got an answer for these beer pumps here, young man.
Okay.
So, pick your pump. You've got to pull up. You know the rules. You've got to pull a pint in 30 seconds.
In 30 seconds,
Maybe
right.
do the alpaca lips there. That's a Bradford beer. Good old Bradford.
You want me to go for the alpaca
Yeah.
lips?
30 seconds.
I did do this well last
pull
time.
the perfect pint.
30 seconds.
Go
Who's
for it,
counting?
mate.
Okay.
And while I'm at it, I want to ask you another question.
Okay.
That is awful, mate.
Gosh.
That is shocking.
Oh my God.
No, that's cheating.
I've done this
pull
before.
the wrist back. Pull the wrist back.
Oh, well,
I want to ask you another question.
Go on, then
now.
keep going. I'll get the perfect point.
If you was having a dinner party tonight,
yeah,
and you could invite 3 people, past or present, could be living or dead,
yeah,
who would it be?
Elvis Presley.
Good man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like. Oh, you want more? Yeah.
Yeah, go on, go to the top, mate.
All right. Okay.
I'll bang it on the bar.
Okay, that's
disgraceful. It's disgusting. It's always a complete waste of time. You're a failure, mate. You're one of life's failures.
Breaks my heart.
That. But Elvis, yeah, Elvis is a good one.
Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
I would like a little bit of female company there, so Marilyn Monroe. Yeah. And do you know what? Interesting between either Frank Sinatra or James Dean.
Ooh, good one.
Who would you have?
I'd have Elvis.
All day long.
All day long. My favourite singer.
Mine too.
Oh, good question. Female company?
Yeah. Audrey Hepburn's good.
I like Audrey Hepburn.
Sophie Loren.
Sophie Loren. Jane Russell.
Oh,
Jane Russell.
There she is.
Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. I think she was in that film.
Great film, yeah.
With
my dinner partner.
Yeah, they could.
Oh my God, we'll do it together. We'll do it together. You've got one more.
Oh, God, who's the most interesting? Oh, can I have
Ben Jardine?
Can I have a couple? Can I have a couple? It's always Laurel and Hardy. I would have them because they're the funniest people ever, apart from you, obviously.
Oh, thank you.
But
thank
I
you.
tell you what's even funnier.
That's funny.
That's funnier. That pint is awful, mate. I would give that probably.
I've not finished it yet.
It's got to be a 3 out of 10, mate.
Really?
I would stick to the day job. I'd stick to boxing, Thai boxing, fighting, or whatever you do. Stick to your acting, but I don't think you've got a career in the pub trade, especially not in Adam Brooks's pub.
You keep mentioning it.
I don't think he'd actually throw you out if he saw that part. If he pulled that one. I'm giving him a bit of a plug there.
A bit of a plug. I feel like it's going to play me, try and knock me out for that.
But it's a shocker, mate. It's poor. But Ben, poor pint, but you're a great guy.
Thank you.
Let the viewers know what you've got coming up next over the next few months or next year or so.
Right, so we've got the film coming out. I think it comes out January, February, so please get involved. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
And then obviously we've just done a brand deal, and then obviously we've got the professional fighting. So obviously Jack Fincham, publicly, I'm here. You keep calling me out after your bare knuckle boxing. Let's get it on. Or I'm in your house. You say his name.
I think you'll be on your house if Adam Brooks gets hold of you, mate.
Oh.
I'm going to throw that one out there, but no, seriously, mate. Great guest, brilliant,
Thank you
mate.
so much.
That's Ben Jardine, last orders.
Cheers.
Thanks for joining me on Lee Anderson's Real World. Been another great show, some cracking guests. But coming up next, we've got Friday Night with Matt Goodwin.
Well, Friday Night with Matt Goodwin, we've got a great lineup tonight. We're going to be looking at this bombshell revelation concerning foreign aid and what your money is really being spent on. We're then going to be looking at Labour's new grooming gang inquiry and who's involved and whether it's really going to deliver truth and justice. That's on Friday Night with me, Matt Goodwin. Great panel, great guests. See you in a couple of minutes.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors